So, last night there were a lot of cards announced. A lot. And by a lot, I mean a lot. Like a whole archetype with like 4 main deck cards, like 3 extra deck cards, a couple spells and traps. And then also like a Prank Kids Link 1 and
thanks for the follow,
this
bitch.
thing. Anyway, so let's get into it. No, not that one. Let's start with this one, because apparently I haven't read any of these cards yet. Apparently, the Link 1 is really good, says Farfa. Prank Kids Meow Meow. Link 1 Earth Rock Effect Monster. Attack 100 Link is down. Materials 1 level 4 lower. Prank Kids monster, so you cannot use another like Prank Kids Link monster to go into this. You can only like summon Meow Meow once per turn, and you can only use this card's name's effect once per turn. If a Prank Kids monster you control would tribute itself to activate its effect during your opponent's turn, you can banish this card from your field or grid. That's pretty good. But also at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, no, I get to send like Fansies to the graveyard. I get to send Lampsies to the graveyard. I get to send Dropsies to the graveyard in time. Poggers? Yeah, no, that just like it by it being a Link 1, that's really good. But also that effect is pretty nice. That effect's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie to you. That effect, pretty good for the archetype. This one, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry about it. Connector of Nepthys. It's a level 2 wind spellcaster ritual effect monster. That's a mouthful. Attack 200, defense 0. You can ritual summon this card with Rebirth of Nepthys. You can use each effect among the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. So each of these effects is a hard once per turn. If this card is ritual summoned, you can special summon 1 Nepthys ritual monster from your hand or deck, except Connector of Nepthys. This is treated as a ritual summon. That's important, this line right here, because then you can use the Nepthys effects to recycle all of your ritual monsters, and for some reason, caring about being properly special summoned first is a thing that this deck does. Second effect, if this card is tributed by or destroyed by a Nepthys card effect, you can activate this effect. During the standby phase, destroy up to 1 Nepthys card from your hand, deck, or field, except ritual monsters. Okay. I know that they have like a destruction theme kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know what Nepthys is trying to do, but this card seems good for the archetype. It specials ritual monsters from deck, which is pretty good. And it also counts that as a proper ritual summon. So that seems pretty good. Now, the big ticket item. Datascape. I think this deck, I've already looked at this because I saw it at like 3 AM last night. And people were saying that this was going to be meta. I'm like, okay, let's take a look. This deck seems pretty good. So, basically, all of the main deck monsters have the effect that while they're in your hand, you can target a Datascape card on the field and then foolish a card that is a different type than that card. So monster, spell, or trap, right? So if you target a face-up trap on your field, you can foolish a spell or monster and then special summon the card, right? Also, they lock you out of special summoning except for level or rank 3 or higher monsters. So you can't link summon with them, so you can't go into like Noodler and shit like that. Important note, it's not this turn, it's for the rest of the turn. So hypothetically, you could go through Noodler combos, summon like this one out of the deck, and then trigger all the rest of your Datascape monsters, which there's a lot of them, right? So they all have that effect where they special summon themselves from their hand, and they foolish one. And I'm just gonna go over what they do in addition to that, because they have another effect that happens when they special themselves. You can add a Datascape card of a different type from the target and send to the graveyard from your deck to your hand. So let's say you have a spell on field, you target the spell, you send a trap, you add a monster, right? And this card's a level 3 Wind Psychic Tuner. That's kind of huge. I could see like you teching Speedroids or Wind Witch into this. That could be sick. This guy, you can special summon from your graveyard a Datascape monster with a different name than the card you sent to the graveyard in defense position, but its effects are negated. However, you do not have to send a monster to trigger that effect, right? Like, if you send a trap, you can special summon any Datascape monster. That's insanely good because this guy is also a tuner. So you can special this guy, who isn't a tuner, to summon their synchro. So then this guy, I think he's the double foolish, right? Also, during the end phase of this turn, you can... Oh yeah, this guy's the Scarm. You can add one Datascape monster from your graveyard to your hand, except for that guy, right? He's kind of like a Scarm, kinda. And then this is the double foolish. You can send one Datascape card that's a different type from the target you sent to the graveyard. So, like, let's say you target a monster, you can send a spell and then you can send a trap. And the spells and traps have like banishing interactions and effects in the graveyard as well. So this card's really good as well. It's not a tuner though. So like, just like right off the bat, 6, 3, 6, 3. Rank 3s, rank 6. They don't really have like a normal summon, do they? I think that they're gonna like errata some old cards that had Datascape in the name or something like that. I don't know. That's true. They might add a Cyberse one. I don't think, this doesn't seem like all of the support. So anyway, we've been over all the main deck monsters, right? Extra deck monsters. 1 tuner and 1 plus non-tuner monsters. You can only use the second and third effect hard once per turn. 1. Any card sent to the graveyard from the field is banished instead. That's kind of weird. I like this effect. It's also like perfectly generic and it's a win. And that's important. When a monster you control declares an attack, you can return 1 of either player's banished monsters to the graveyard. During the main phase, except the turn that this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish 2 other monsters with different original type and attribute from your graveyard, special summon this card. This guy is sick. I like him. Just because like he's so recurable, and then you just need to declare 2 attacks. Like 2 attacks have to be declared in order to recycle him again. You can just add back the 2 banished cards that you banished to summon him. Now we got the turtle. 2 plus level 3 monsters. It's an earthworm. Rank 3. Once per turn, you can detach a material, target a face-up monster you control. It cannot be destroyed by battle until the end of your opponent's next turn. Once per turn, after damage calc, if this card battled with opponent's monsters and there are 2 or more monsters with the same original type and attribute in your graveyard, you can banish that opponent's monster. So like, if you have this guy and this guy in the graveyard, or this guy and this guy in the graveyard, you can just banish the monster. You can make itself unable to be destroyed by battle, punch, and then banish it, non-target. That's pretty good. And then the Phoenix. This card's pretty good. You can only use this card's name's second effect once per turn. Once per turn, you can detach 2 materials, target 1 face-up card your opponent's controls, and 1 card in either graveyard, banish them. No, so this card's sick. You detach 2 materials. Let's say hypothetically you're playing against Striker. You target the Shizuku, you target the Ray. Banish both at the same time. That's sick. That effect is really good. The 1 card in either graveyard is just absolutely huge. 2, if this succeeds summon card is destroyed by an opponent's attacking monster's attack. That's a weird wording. Or an opponent's card effect. You can special summon 2 Datascape monsters of the same original type and attribute from your deck. So what that means, right, is you can summon the 6 and the 3, or the 6 and the 3, right? Which is okay. Datascape Capital. You can only activate 1 card with this name per turn. Place 1 Datascape Gate card directly from your deck to the spell and trap zone, then apply the following effects in sequence based on how many gate cards you control. So 2 or more Datascape monsters gain 200 for the rest of the turn. 3 or more send the top 3 cards from your deck to the graveyard, which is pretty good. 4, special summon up to 4 Datascape monsters with different names from your extra deck. Now 1, 2, 3. We have 3 monsters here, but it says summon up to 4. We're getting more support. Yeah, right? So summon up to 4 Datascape monsters with different names from your extra deck. Okay, apparently there are like 3 promo cards. We'll look at those later. These are getting eroded. But yeah, this card's pretty sick. It's just like free shit, right? It also lets you activate the trap from deck. Datascape Gate, the green one, let's say. You can only use first and second effects once per turn. Streamer is senile, dog. Come on, man. I'm Pepega XD. You only use the first and second effects once per turn each. You can banish a Datascape card from your graveyard, then target 1 face-up monster in the field, negate its effects until the end of the turn. That's pretty good, because then also, if you remember, the synchro recycles it, right? It recycles the banished card. And then 2, you can banish this card from your graveyard, add a Datascape monster from your deck to your hand, then send one card from your hand to the graveyard. It's like, you know, you add one and then you send one to the graveyard, which is pretty good because you want most of your cards into the graveyard anyway. And also it counts as a Datascape card on the field because it's a continuous spell. So then you can use that to special summon your card and then like Foolish a Trap, which just so happens to be this guy down here, which is pretty good. You can only use this card's name first and second effects once per turn each. You can target a face-up card in the field, shuffle 2 of your banished Datascape monsters with different names into your deck, then destroy the target. So it puts a Datascape card in your graveyard and then recycles your banished ones. This card's really good. And then you can activate it off of this on your first turn. During the main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, which by the way, this is a quick effect because it's a trap card. Then target one Datascape monster you control, have it either gain or lose 3 levels. So you can't target the Exceeds, but you can target this, make it a 12 or a 6. I think that's the bigger use, making this a 6 and then overlaying into Phoenix. You can make this a level 3. Yeah, you'd probably like play 1 or 2 of this, probably 3 of this, and then probably 2 of this. Because you can search it, right? All these are searchable. But no, this archetype seems really good so far. Let's look at the other ones. Oh, and then this is a 6. And it's a psychic. That's huge. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects while you have 2 or more monsters of the same original type and attribute, but different names in your graveyard. You can banish 2 monsters, same original type and attribute. Graveyard, target 1 card in the field, send it to the graveyard. Targeting non-destruction removal. That's pretty good. And then you can go into Phoenix with this, or you can lower the level and then go into Turtle. Or you can raise its level, overlay with the 9s into VFD. Oh, this archetype seems so good. 2+ level 3 monsters with the same type or attribute. No, with the same type and attribute. So in order to summon this, you would have to, wait, hold, lower the level of this, or lower the level of this, or lower the level of this, right? Well, this card has material your opponent cannot target with card effects. Targeting protection, that's really good. When your opponent activates the effect of a monster with an attribute that's not in their field. So like, let's say they try and ash you. Let's say they try and ash you, but they don't have a fire. While they control a face-up monster, quick effect, you can detach 2 materials, negate the activation. That would have been broken. If you could just attach things with like Gossip Shadow to this, that would be sick. And these cards haven't come out yet, right? These are just promos, and then they just made an archetype out of it. Okay, if a level 3 monster is normal or special summon to your field, while this card is in your graveyard, special summon this card. And if you do, it is treated as a tuner, but banish it when it leaves the field. Okay, so this card can be a tuner if you want. Once you get a special summon monster for this turn, set for level rank of 3 higher monsters. If this card is banished, you can target one of your other banished cards, shuffle it into the deck. This archetype seems so good. Oh my god. Like, honestly? So, now to talk about the archetype as a whole. A lot of the stuff that it does is not powerful, right? But I feel like its ability to like a lot of the stuff that Sky Striker does wasn't powerful, right? You have Widow Anchor and you have Shark Cannon, you have Afterburners, you have Jamming Waves. It's like a lot of the only really unfair thing that it did was like multi-roll and like engage, right? This archetype doesn't have engage, but what it does have, it's just a lot of good stuff. And then you can also just like play VFD. You can also just play Dante. You can also just play, Leviair, the Sea Dragon. The one that summons banished stuff back. That card's really good. It's also a wind. What else can you play? You can play, let's look at the ranks. You could also play Nemesis. Nemesis might be really good in this deck. Like, this deck just seems insane. Like, how can anyone not think that this deck is not, like, absolutely broken? You could also, like, just hard make Beatrice. This deck just seems really good for no reason. If you guys of the Twitch chat could scrounge around and find me builds of this deck and just, like, put them in the Discord tonight, I'll skip Duel Links tomorrow and play test this, because I am really excited about this archetype. This archetype looks so good. Oh my god. Like, non-ironically. It's like, it doesn't have the power high in archetype, but like, you can make your 6s into 9s and then go into VFD. Just think about that for a second. This deck has like, not only does it have like board breaking potential, but also there's probably a 1-card first turn setup for VFD. Like 2-card setup maybe. Because you need like the first card, right? Yeah, every card can be ashed. That's fair. But you would just play such a high volume of main deck monsters that, like, I don't think that Ash would matter. Because, like, yeah, okay, you Ash my one card, I have a second level 3 in hand. It's kind of like the same principle with, like, Adamantipator, right? If they don't have the extender, fine. It probably does. But also at the same time, I feel like it might get more support in the future. And it will just bring this deck over the top. Like, this deck is definitely at least going to be tier 2. Okay, we've gone over the new cards. We've gone over the new archetype. It is time for what Farfa almost got banned for. And ooh boy, it's a doozy. It's a doozy. Okay,